What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am Wayne. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Raffaele Rispo. Rafa, what's going on? How are you, my man?
I'm good, Wayne. It's cold up here in New York, upstate New York. It snowed a lot, and been dealing with that all day. But otherwise, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm wishing we got some of your snow because I love to ski and I live not too far from the slopes. But maybe you could send some of that out. How far are you from Buffalo?
So we're in the other side actually. I'm about a half hour north of Albany, so we're still along the East Coast, but we haven't had a lot of snow here at all. Like Albany, Buffalo's had so much snow lately, but us, no, nothing, no, very very little. And today was the first really big one. So I've been dealing with that all day.
I wish
So
I had
if you
asked you.
if yeah,
I'm going up to the Adirondacks this weekend
oh,
on
is that
Saturday.
right?
Yeah, how far are you from Gore Mountain?
I'm Gore Mountain is right here, man. Come
Bro,
visit
come chill
me.
on Saturday. We'll be
I
hanging
can't.
out
I'm
there.
working all day. Come get a haircut.
I went today.
Look at you. Well, you come in and I'll fix it. No, it looks good. Let me see. Let me see.
Thank you.
Turn your
Got
head. Let's see.
a little
It
fade.
doesn't look bad. Yeah, it doesn't look bad.
I
I
went
wish
eight
I
on
knew
top.
that. Eight
That's
on
so
top. That's
funny.
good.
Yeah.
I
And
wish I knew, man. Next time for sure. But listen, if you have time Saturday, if we have time, we can meet up. I am going down to NYC Sunday. I'm going to plug this really quick before we get going. The Tri-State Napoli Club, myself, Raff, the Rant. We're meeting with I think like six other Napoli clubs up and down the East Coast, and we're going to be meet at Ribalta in New York City for Napoli Roma.
boo.
And
Nah,
yeah, it's
Ribalta's
gonna be
good.
Ribalta's awesome. And it's gonna be a big event. We're looking at Serie A might be coming. CBS should be coming too. So we're really organizing this big event for this game because it's a big game, right? It's a Derby della Sole, right? It's amplified now by the fight on the Autostrada del Sole, wasn't it? But it's a big event for us. So we're having a lot of people from a lot of Toronto, Philly, DC area. We've got some people from England even coming. So
Wow.
it's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh
All
yeah. It's
meeting
a
at
big
Ribalta
event.
on Sunday, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna pack the joint out, man. We're gonna pack it out.
That's gonna be good. If anyone gets the chance, Ribalta is very good pizza. It's like my favorite is Sogni Napoli on in the West Village, but
Yes.
Ribalta I've been to. I watched the Coppa Italia final there last year, which was really fun. And I even know that on Fridays, some Fridays alternating, they do Italian music, which is really cool, like Italian
They
music
do.
karaoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I've
definitely
never
a
been
cool
to
spot.
Sogno Napoli yet, which is probably blasphemous for me, but I haven't had the chance to go yet.
Bro.
But I heard it was a number one. But Ribalta is probably, in my opinion, it's the best that I've had in New York, as far as being close to Napoli. Again, I haven't visited Sogno Napoli yet, so I can't really, judge them yet. But
No,
Ribalta is
Ribalta
close, very
is
good.
it is. It's really good quality pizza. Now you're saying that they're all meeting on Sunday, 2:45. So if anyone wants to crash that party, any Romanisti, feel free to go there and start waving our striscioni. But we will have our own thing going on at Roma Club New York for sure. We're gonna be going wild, so get ready for that. We're all gonna be in
Beautiful,
proximity of one another.
beautiful,
I mean, that's
beautiful. Yes.
less than a 10-minute drive.
Well, this is what the Serie A wants to see. They have an office in Manhattan, and I'm sure you know of that. Um, the the club Serie A wants to see a bunch of clubs congregate and going in numbers and like having watch parties and stuff like that. That's what they want to see. Like you see the CBS is going to Boston for the Milan Derby on the 5th. But they got wind of our meet this weekend, and they're looking into um, bringing a crew over for that too. They want to see, the league wants to see that from the fans. So let's get everybody that are fans of any team in City out together and make these big clubs. I know there's a bunch that exist, but if you're thinking of making a club because there's a few fans, do it. Just do it because I'm actually going to start Upstate Napoli Club here too. at some point. So yeah, because I get clients come into my barbershop, and next thing you know, they look up and they're like, "Oh, Napoli fan, huh?" And they see the scarf and they're like, "Yeah, my father's from there. We're big fans." Blah blah blah. And that's how, like, you grow. I feel like I have enough people that I know that I need to start a club now. So just do it. Just do it.
I like that. And you talk about these fan parties, and it is a way to grow the league. It's great exposure. They're always a lot of fun. And I wish that I could do that with Serie A. To me, that would be. I
Mm,
had a very similar job with Roma about 3, 4 years ago, and then COVID hit,
yeah.
and that job is
Yeah.
no longer there. So I was supposed to
Yeah.
be coordinating these fan parties for Roma up and down North America, which would have been really cool. But times change, ownerships change, and now we're here. And you mentioned to me the people that you got to see the Serie A office, and what was that like?
Oh, that was dope. It's a small office. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing big. But it's probably like a mile from Ribalta. So the last time we had a view party at Ribalta, um, we were invited to visit the office, and it's clean. It's nice. They've got trophies. All the trophies are set up so where you could take a picture behind like a backdrop. There's individual offices. All the jerseys are hung up, in frames. There's little knickknacks. Like we ended up getting. I could probably find one here, but maybe not. Um, they give away like captain's armbands and stuff like that, official ones, which is cool. Yeah, there you go. There's keep racism out, and then there's the one that says peace, right? Yeah, there's the other one. Yeah, I mean it's dope. Um, but they also, so that's kind of like what they're doing with the office is they're setting up a place for people to be able to come and like maybe do some sort of fan interaction there. Like, they told us that one of the goals that they're looking into for the office is to like invite people over to do some work. So like for example, if Wayne wanted to take his show on the road and like meet with a couple people or have a little bit of an audience, right? They said this for us for the Napoli rant that's a place that they can go and do that. Like if like we could ask them if we can borrow the office a little, and say, hey, is the office open? Can we come in? Can we like work on some stuff, Serie A related, Napoli related, team related? Like that's one of the plans. Then they also have an outdoor patio, which is a high rise, so it's an outdoor like patio on the high rise, looking at like the big buildings in the city. You can see the Freedom Tower from there, and they're building this big like get together spot for like viewing parties. So they're going to put a nice big TV up there. They're going to get nice plants. They're redoing the area so that they can host events there too, which is dope. It's dope. It's I urge anybody, and you know what? They let the fans go and see the office. So like if you wanted to schedule an appointment to go and visit, see the office, hold the trophies and all that, I wouldn't hold the Scudetto at all. Um, I'm not touching the money. But you can take pictures with the trophies. You can take pictures with the jerseys. It's really cool. You can hang. It's cool. At that Serie A on Instagram, that Serie A, and then it's the at Serie _en on Twitter. Get a hold of them. They're really responsive. They're really cool. And they do, like I said, regular fans can go and check it out too. So yeah, very dope. Very dope.
Cool stuff. Thank you. And we got a lot of questions coming in, and that would be really cool. Imagine like being able to do this at the Studio studio. I hope
That'd be
that's
awesome.
in the books one day. And I really hope that, as with Italians, that it's more about the fatti, the actual doing it. And I know all these things sound nice. However, sometimes it takes a long time getting business done in Italy. But I have a feeling
Absolutely.
that since it is over here now, hopefully we'll start to see that progress come and these things actually become a reality. But I have 5 questions for you, Raf, but I want to get to some of the fans jumping in here. Uh, First, we got Rocco shouting in, and HH has a great question here. He says, "Do you fear Roma, Raf?"
Um, usually I get really nervous about games like this. I can't lie and say that I don't fear anyone. Juve was stressful. I was really afraid of Inter. I'm always afraid of these big games, right? But at the same time, Napoli have given fans a reason to not be that worried, not be that afraid, because when Napoli are firing on all cylinders, when their best players are playing at the best, I don't think there's a team in Italy that could beat them aside from Inter, which I actually did call. If you guys follow me, I kind of called that. I said if any team is going to beat Napoli this season, it'll be Inter. But I mean, listen, one loss in 19 games, a loss and two draws. How can you not be confident in this team, right? So especially at the Maradona, I don't know if I fear anyone at the Maradona, but I look at it with respect because Roma can slip here and there, but on their best day too, they're dangerous as well. Dybala is very has this team playing, and he's a catalyst to this team for sure. Tammy's starting to wake up a little bit. The defense is a hard-nosed defense. Ibanez, Mancini, I think that this team, Zalewski, I like him a lot. He's a great player. You got El Shaarawy playing. Like, you know what? It's a Mourinho team, right? So with an eye on the fact that it's Roma, it's a big game. And respect to them. But at the same time, I don't think I fear anyone this season. Fear. I don't fear anyone.
Okay, well put. Yeah, yeah. No, totally understandable. I think if my team were playing the way that Napoli did, I don't think I would have fear. I think you always have to be conscious of your opponent. And we're looking at Roma, and Rocco makes a good point here. And he says it is a bad time though to be facing Roma because they have just about hit their stride right now. They're on a streak, and they're doing really good, much better than they had. 2023 has been very kind to Roma. And also a question here: what about Ndombele? How is he doing?
So just to touch on what Rocco said really quick, they have hit their stride, and that's a reason why I'm concerned. They're not really facing a lot of injury issues, are they? I mean, they're playing well, but at the same time they're beatable. And like I said, Napoli is just lights out. The thing with Napoli is that when it comes to these big games, they're up for it. And in the past, it was the smaller games that they would slip on. And this season, they're not slipping at all. So it's like, even if we did lose this game, we've got quite the advantage in the league. So it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But at the same time, like, I know that Roma have their streak, but Juve were on a streak too, right? And we stopped them. You saw that. As far as Ndombele, he's really coming into the team. At first I understood why his start was slow. He got to the team after the season started. He hadn't really, I mean, he trained with his former team, it was, Tottenham. He trained, but it's not like he was, integrated with the club as much. So he had to get kind of accustomed to Serie A, the team, the players, the language, the situations, all that kind of stuff, right? And then since then, I'd say probably from like match day 6 or 7 on, he really has hit his stride, and I'm very very safe. I feel safe with Ndombele coming in for one of the midfielders. I feel if he were to start a game, I think he's a perfect replacement for Anguissa or for Lobotka. And yeah, I think Ndombele is a really great player, and when he's got his game on, he's one of the best midfielders in Europe. I mean, we've seen him with what was it? Was it Lyon? Right? He made the Champions League Team of the Season that year that they went to the semifinal. Right? So I think there's something to be said about that. And it was all just about integrating with the team, Spalletti and the players. But he's doing a really good job, and I'm happy with him. Very happy.
Nice. What would you say is his biggest strength, Ndombele?
And Dumbledore's biggest strength is being able to find a good. I think he finds a good pass a lot. He's very he can create some space for teams. He could be very aggressive to the ball. He's got a good pace too. So that's one of his biggest strengths. Again, in Ndombele, he's a shot taker too, so he's not afraid to take shots from outside the box.
He has a powerful
But
shot.
he does have a powerful shot. So he for me, and honestly, I think his one of his biggest strengths is being able to come off the bench and rejuvenate the midfield a little bit. Anguissa, Lobotka, and Zielinski have been doing an amazing job. But Zielinski, I think, gets himself 60 minutes, and then Ndombele can come in and finish up, wipe it up. Actually, we named him on the rant. We named him Beast of the Match for the game against Rangers in the Champions League at Ibrox. He came in and he played 7 minutes and made a huge impact on the match. I think he had a goal and an assist in 7 minutes, and could have scored two, maybe even three. I think he hit the crossbar once. But yeah, he has the knack and ability to come in and change the pace of the game.
Awesome. And we're getting a lot of love in the comments here for Ndombele and Marco, HHC, a couple other people giving respect to Ndombele here, and a little bit about the fitness. But you said he comes off the bench and he's somebody who can assert himself.
Right.
So you're looking at
right.
Napoli who's really deep.
That's a good point that he makes. He's not a 90-minute player, but we've kind of figured that out, So
and not every player has to be either.
No,
certain players
absolutely
fill
not.
certain roles.
Everybody has a role on this team, Napoli, this team, and they all understand it and they get it. Like even me as a fan, I get frustrated when don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Victor Osimhen and I hope he never leaves. I praise the ground he walks on. But every now and then it's like, okay, we're up a bit. He scored a goal. Let's take him out. Let's put Simeone in. Simeone hasn't seen a lot of minutes lately. Raspadori either. Let's get them in. But the thing is that, I follow them on social and I read into what they say and like their demeanor and their faces after games and stuff like that. And you could tell that they're just so bought into the system that they don't mind sitting on the bench for a little bit because they'll get their moment. Like, look at Raspadori and how impactful he's been in the Champions League. Simeone would come in and get goals, and he played in the Coppa Italia game. It was easily the best player, against Cremonese. And they don't mind being that role player. They don't mind it at all. They know that they'll be used when they're needed, and they're fine with it. But I think when you're winning, it doesn't really matter. Like, look at a guy like Pinsoglio from Juventus, the third string keeper, sits on the bench, and he's one of the biggest cheerleaders of the team because he's on a team that he loves. He accepts the role. He knows they were winning all those years, right? So he loves that. He loves being in that position, and he's getting paid. So when you buy into a system, it makes life a lot easier. I think that's why when Elmas said what he said about the bench, right? I don't know if you know this, Wayne, but a couple of months ago, Elmas made a joke about the bench being his best friend. And Spalletti came to him, and he made that joke on I think it was on his Instagram. Spalletti said to him, "Listen, like you want to you talk about this bench. Let's see what you got on the field because you haven't shown me much." And what happened? Ever since then, Elmas has been one of our best players. So, like, I think that just being bought into a system and Spalletti being able to guide these guys, I don't think it matters if they start, if they don't start, if they come in, if they skip this one out. Like, I haven't even seen talk from Chucky Lozano, who always wants playing time, but he sits a lot, and he even is pretty happy at the moment.
It's funny you say that because I think back to myself as a player, and the best managers are those who get players to buy in to their system no matter what, but two, can have everybody feel like they are part of it. Because what happens is if a player sits on the bench for too long, you start to have a divide. But if you can fill in those gaps and make everyone feel like they are part of the one thing and they're all working towards it, regardless if they play 90 minutes, 5 minutes, or didn't get in for that particular match. That is the key, is being able to bring everybody together right there. Signature of a top manager. And to know that Spalletti is doing it, I'm not surprised because for years he has been the second place manager. But I think that this year is just completely different. And as we look at the points differences, I mean, Milan has yet to play tomorrow against a really strong Lazio. But I mean, just look at the difference. If Milan do not win, If they draw, they're at 39 points, 11 points behind first place. That is significant. You got to give your hats off to Napoli. And one of the reasons why I, connected with you today and asked you to come on, you were very generous, giving me and everybody else your time. It's just that this is a really exciting thing. And I think it says a lot about Italian football in a situation at a time where Italian football is being given a dark light. A bad thing has just happened to us. Now,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, we also have one of the best teams in Europe. So that's a really,
Yeah,
I think, Napoli is doing the league some justice right now.
absolutely. And I like I like what you said about how a lot of fans out there right now who are losing their minds over what's going on with Juventus are really kind of taking it out on the league, and the league being so you know shady and what have you, and honestly
Manipulated.
manipulative and all these different things. And I don't know. Maybe it's because we're 12 points up in the standings, but I don't see where the league is doing the wrong thing here. I think the league is doing the right thing and taking the right necessary measures, and maybe they're tired of all this underhanded movement by certain clubs. And and I say that, and Napoli's at the forefront of it too with the Osimhen thing. But twice Napoli have been, investigated, and twice it's been dropped. And Juve were caught wiretapped. Like unless they can find some wiretap evidence that ADO is cooking the books, which you all everybody by now knows after 19 seasons with Napoli should know that ADL runs pretty smooth business, and Juve have a history of running really shady business. I think their fans are just really overreacting towards the league. The league is in a really good spot, actually. And I don't know if you guys look at my Twitter, at Raffanopoli83 on Twitter. I tweeted out yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I tweeted out this like 5-part thread of um, why the league is in good shape, and facts about how the league is in better shape than everybody thinks it is. You've got a team like Napoli who destroyed Europe. You've got teams like Milan and Inter who, when they first got back to the Champions League, struggled, but now they're in the next rounds. They're doing really well. Inter beat Barcelona. Milan had a decent, thing, and Roma just won a European trophy. You've got the Europa League. All 7 teams that were in, Italian teams are still in Europe. So I think fans need to like kind of they're overreacting on the state of the league here, and take a back step and take a look at the play on the pitch, the quality of the play on the pitch, the teams that are coming out. Milan and Inter could beat teams in Europe. Napoli could beat teams in Europe. I think it's great. I think it's a change. That's what it is. It's a change of the guard, where Juventus was always the flag bearer of this league and always the flag bearer of this country when it comes to the sport. And now it's changing a little, and some Juventini can't really grasp that. And in the midst of all that, there's all the scandal. So yeah, I think the league is in pretty decent shape, honestly.
Cool. I like your optimism, and I think you make a lot of great points there, Raff. Now, I want to get to some of the scripted questions. And first, I like a good sauce. It's Sunday.
Hey,
I got to have a little ragu. It's got to be, a little pork, meatballs,
yeah.
spaghetti. There's nothing like it. Smelling mom's sauce. What is the secret to Napoli's sauce?
Secret to Napoli sauce is, and I don't know how well of a secret it is because it's not that much of a secret, but in my opinion, what's causing all this, right? What's the main ingredient to the sauce? Let's say that. What's the main ingredient to the sauce? It's De Laurentiis running his business the way he does, and it's Cristiano Giuntoli, the sporting director, and how he can make moves with the money that ADL has, and with a small, wage bill, and finding these players out of nowhere. That's it. That's got to be it. Because when you take a look at the history of, and I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier, Gaetano. Actually, there he is right there, Gaetano Salazzo. There you go. I was talking to him about this earlier. every time there's a revolution, say, right? There's a big sale or there's a revolution. Um, Napoli usually come out looking good, right? You sold Cavani, and with Cavani, you paid for Higuain, Mertens, Callejon, Albiol, Reina, those guys, right? Benitez came in and won another Coppa Italia, which, listen, guys, Coppa Italia is a Coppa Italia. Yeah, you might not find it as a big trophy or whatever. That's the fans that are talking, right? Back when Napoli won those two Coppa Italias in 12 and 14, those are the first two trophies since Maradona. So they were huge for us, right? And they won another Copa. They went to the Europa League semifinal. And then Sarri comes in. They have a new identity. They ended up getting Cristiano Giuntoli, and that was with another. That was also by mind you, that was with Bigon. That was another sporting director. They bring Giuntoli in, and it just happens again where they sell Higuain off. But with Higuain, they built and got Jorginho. They got or Jorginho might have come in before, but anyway, Jorginho, Alan, Husai, Mario Rui, all of the components that were needed to continue. They get Milik, who didn't really pan out, but Milik's injury unlocked Mertens, right? So everything that happened for a reason. Then the Milik cycle ended, and we bring Osimhen in. Now we've got Osimhen, but then Kvara comes in. Then Mario Rui is playing out of his mind,
Yeah.
and Zielinski comes in and becomes a boss.
Labotka.
Lobotka, geez, Koulibaly leaves, Insigne leaves, Fabian leaves. Now you bring in Kvara, you bring in, Kim Min Jae, Amir Rahmani. These are guys that really, like, when you look at where they played before, it blows your mind. It blows your mind. Anguissa, Everton, Kvara, Georgia,
Georgia.
Kim Min Jae, Turkey, Rahmani, Verona, right? I think the highest profile probably was Politano and Lozano because they played for bigger teams, right? PSV Eindhoven and Inter and Roma and all that. But like I don't know, like the secret to me, the main ingredient to me is the staff that runs the club behind the scenes, um, making the right moves and also having the right person to guide them, which is Spalletti. So in essence, in a short way to wrap up my long-winded answer, it's from top to bottom. The ingredients are just enough to make a perfect sauce.
I really like that because I think most people, whether they talk on social media or they're analysts, they're going to go and say, it's Kvara, it's the unexpectedness of a player and nobody knows how to defend him. He's slippery. It's also Spalletti getting all the players. But you take it a step further. You look at the big picture and you say, no, this is a top to bottom operation where something much bigger is at play behind the scenes. And there's actually fantastic directors, people who are amazing at their job, who are pulling the strings. And this is something that is coming to fruition because of a vision and because of football IQ and people who know how to read the sport and people who know how to read players. Really like that, Raff.
Absolutely. Yeah, right. Right. Absolutely.
Give me a starting lineup for tomorrow, for Sunday.
Okay, so Meret, obviously. Although I did hear that Pierluigi Golini is having his medical, I think, tomorrow, and could be in the lineup, not the lineup, but the squad list for Roma. Sirigu's going to go to Fiorentina, and Golini's going to come in and back up Meret, which I think is amazing. You got
When did you
Meret
guys
and
sign Golini?
This is very recent, probably within the last few hours. But
What?
yeah, breaking news, Wayne.
Breaking news. He just came over from Tottenham?
Yeah, he's I guess Tottenham got done with him, and he was at Fiorentina for a little bit.
Wow,
and
that's so coming. He was so good for Atalanta. He was a great keeper.
He was, and then he went to Tottenham. I guess it didn't work out. Tottenham loaned him out to Fiorentina, but we're picking him up now. So, yeah, it's a loan deal, and then an option for 2024. He's going to play in the cups. Listen, Napoli are building, right? It's a constant building. But as far, so there's news right there. But as far as
Sorry to cut you
As
off.
far
Yeah,
no, that's okay.
continue.
As
Starting
far
11.
as Sunday goes, it's going to be Meret. It's got to be Mario Rui on the left. Spalletti has this knack for like switching out Mario Rui and Oliveira, right? Especially if we're playing every 3 days. But when Mario Rui plays, our attack is flawless. He created both goals against Salernitana. I think he's like the most assists from a defender this season so far, and I think he's like second or third in the league in assists. He's Napoli's top assist man, so he's got to play, especially when we don't have to play until another week. If we're not playing those midweek games, like we're not going to play Roma on Tuesday because of a certain bottom of the table team beating us in Coppa. Play Mario Rui. He's got to start. So on the left is Mario Rui. Then you got Minjay and Rahmani in the middle. And Di Lorenzo, of course, on the right. In the midfield, it's going to be Anguissa, Lobotka, and Zielinski. And then it's going to be, hopefully, Kvara is better he was suffering from the flu, but we need him for this one. Kvara, Osimhen, and Politano. That's
Okay.
your 11.
So Zielinski in the midfield with Anguissa. Zielinski being more, once Napoli go into possession, he pushes a little bit further than Anguissa.
Yes.
And then what's your top three ahead of the midfield?
It's going to be Kvara on the left, Politano on the right, and Osimhen in the middle. That's my opinion.
Osimhen and Kvara. Okay, there we go. Putting that up. There we go. There's your predicted formations by Raffaele Rispo.
I mean, this is what's been working. This is not that rotating hasn't been working. The only time it didn't work was when we switched out the entire 10 aside from Meret for the Coppa Italia, and even then we were up 2-1 with seconds left. So this is what works, and I think, like I said, if it'll have been 8 days since we played on Sunday. You got to start the 11. You got to start the 11 that's working, right? And Raspadori should be guaranteed minutes. Simeone should hope for some minutes, but I think at the end of the day, this is the 11 that we start with.
Awesome. I'm reading some interesting comments here from, not to break away from our questions here, Raff, but I saw this was pretty cool. Paul Capaccio mentions that they're going to be auctioning off the Hand of God ball from the 86 World Cup. It's expected to get a record $9 million.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive stuff.
It's impressive because if it's the same ball that they used for the goal that came 5 minutes later, which was rated top goal, of all time. That's the goal that Maradona scored by taking out the whole England team, midfield and defense. Remember that. That came from the same game. It was probably the same ball. So that's a big time, purchase right there. 9 million is crazy. I think one of his jerseys from Argentina was going for like 4 million or something.
Really?
Like that, which is crazy. Yeah.
Crazy money. But no, I mean, that's quite the collector's item. Maybe Kim Kardashian wants to get in on that. I saw she just bid and bought something, I think a sweater from like the Golden Girls show. So, but
I wonder how much that was going for.
I always wonder if these people, I'm getting myself sidetracked, if like Elon Musk or the Kardashians, if they bought a football team, how insane that would be.
Oh boy.
When you put the ego, the personality, I'm like, what if these people did? Because you look at like what's happening with Chelsea, and I'm just like, this stuff is nuts.
Yeah. Chelsea's not having a good time, are they? Really? I mean, I think of Koulibaly, and I just feel so bad for that guy, man. It's not going well for him at all over there. It's not, and not that. Listen, hindsight is always 2020. We miss him for sure, but I don't think I would have done anything differently over the summer. If anything, I would have kept them to like kind of hang back and sit on the sidelines while getting these other players.
Yeah,
like I guess it's Insigne, Mertens, and Koulibaly. I would have wished them one Scudetto. You know what I mean? I would have wished for them to be a part of this. We joke in private messages saying, let's get Mertens back for a half season loan just so he could be on the team when we raise a trophy.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Herm's my boy.
Yeah, but when you think about it, going back, I don't think I would have changed anything. Obviously, we're on pace to set our best season ever, and we're looking at that Juventus 102-point season too, which we would only be able to be afforded another loss and draw. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but hey, we're going to get close to it, I think.
Yeah. I have a question here, Raff. It's one before I get to the other comments coming in here off this live. And by the way, guys, throw a like up there as well. Tonight, Raff at 9 p.m. is going to be doing his Raff Napoli rant podcast on video as well, right? This is not just a
Yep.
podcast.
It's live on YouTube, and then it's available on Far From Vesuvius podcast later. So once we finish with our live show, you can always go back into YouTube and watch again, of course. And then a couple hours later, it's available on audio podcast, wherever you can get your podcast, at Far From Vesuvius. So that's where we're hosting our audio right now. Yeah, check it out. There's also another really good podcast on our network, Far From Vesuvius. It's called In the Shadow of Vesuvio. It's with Dr. Henry Bell and Michele Borelli. Henry and I did a Maradona series. We haven't finished it. We started it on COVID, and then the season we got back up. We got up to like the 90 season, and we need to finish that. But then also Michele he runs Napoli Tickets on Twitter at Napoli Tickets. He helps fans from around the world that don't live in Napoli get tickets. So he provides a service. He meets with them. He tells them where to go. He tells them what to do. He's a tour guide naturally. So it's a dope podcast because he's literally in the shadow of Vesuvio. He's on the ground in Naples, and Henry from Scotland is the host. So yeah, it's dope, real dope.
Really cool. I had thinking when I wrote this question to you, I'm thinking like it's Cavara. Like, how are we going to explain Napoli's key player? Because on one side you have the depth, on another you have standout performances from Osimhen, this shock to the league that is Cavara. But what about the players who might not be getting all of the attention, Raff? Who is the unsung hero of Napoli's season thus far?
This was a really good question, and I really pondered the answer to this. And I have to say, it comes down to three players, in my opinion. It comes down to Maruri, who we already spoke about, right? 7 assists, big time, player for us. He was one of the most hated players, actually. Like, he was not very liked for a long time, and then suddenly out of nowhere, his play just got better and better, and now he's one of the most loved, and everybody wants to see him score a goal. He hasn't scored a goal in like 1,050 days or something like that. So Maruri playing so good. I mean, he's got to be one of the unsung heroes, but at the same time, he's kind of recognized, right? He's recognized for his assists. Then you got Lobotka. Lobotka going from, we used to call him Slobotka. We used to call him names, man. It was bad. He was in a bad way. Gattuso and him just did not get on. And once Spalletti came in and he dropped some weight and he changed his attitude a little bit, Lobotka is he's detrimental to this side. Like, he must play, there was a point in time last season when Lobotka got injured right at the beginning of the season and he didn't play. And, the players, they picked up for him, but when he got back, he just like tore it up. And from then on, he's been absolutely important for us. This season is no different. I think he's a beast. I think he's the glue. He just dictates the game. He's such a great player in that regista role. But I think I'm going to change everyone's narrative here, and I'm going to pick Alex Meret. I think Alex Meret, there you go, Gaetano. He's on my side. Alex Meret, for me, has been the unsung hero of this team. He went public enemy number 1. Only at the end of last season. I mean, Meret, to me, was gone. He was gone. He was out. We were getting a new keeper. If Ospina was leaving, it was going to be Kepa, or it was going to be Navas, or it was going to be whoever. It was anybody but Meret. And that's the sentiment of most, if not all, Napoli fans. I don't know if you remember this, Wayne, but last season, what drove the final nail in the coffin for Napoli Scudetto last season was the come from behind win for Empoli against Napoli in Empoli. 3-2. We were up 2-0 with 10 minutes left, and Medet made some real bad howlers.
Oof.
One of them was the goal to tie it 2-2, and it was awful. If you guys YouTube it, check it out. It was really bad. Medet was gone. We at the rant were cursing him out. It was over. I said, get him off my club, blah, blah, blah. This guy is so solid this season. I mean, I think it's 5 or 6 clean sheets now. But there's some saves that he's made that have literally saved games for us. I mean, he experienced one howler in a game against Bologna this season, and we ended up winning that game 3-2. Other than that, Medet has been almost perfect. I think there was also there was the last game of the Champions League group stage, in Liverpool. He must have made. I think he made a mistake there too, but I don't really fault him for any of that stuff because it was a meaningless game. We were going to win the group anyway. Really, I erased that from my brain. Alex Medet has been so solid this year. He's definitely my unsung hero for sure, 100%.
Very cool. Number 2. Rui?
Number 2, I'm sorry?
Number 2. Who's like, if you didn't go with Medet, is Mario Rui your number 2 for being the unsung?
Unsung, yeah, I would say Lobotka 2, Mario Rui 3. Mario Rui is important, but everyone knows. You say unsung. I wouldn't call him an unsung hero. You know who else I might put in there? I might put Di Lorenzo in there too. And here's a reason why I put Di Lorenzo in there. I don't think a lot is talked about when it comes to Di Lorenzo taking over the captaincy from Insigne. That was a choice that was made by the players. It was unanimous. It was voted on amongst the players, and he won the vote. He got the captaincy. When it could have really gone to Mario Rui, who honestly I think is the right fit for it. But and maybe Di Lorenzo had a little bit of an issue starting the season. He started a little slowly, but gradually, and as the season went on, Di Lorenzo has really become this rock for us. He's like our Iron Man. We had to bring in Berezinski just to give him some help, because he needs to take a rest every now and then, doesn't he? But honestly, I think maybe I'd go Di Lorenzo number 2 because he took on a big responsibility. Now, listen.
As he did for Italy in the Euros.
Yes, he did. He had to come in and step in for,
Florenzi.
Was it Florenzi? Correct.
It was awful.
Yeah, right. And he came in and took care of business. I know he was, the guy defending the first goal they scored in 2 minutes. Who was it that scored that goal? I don't even care. But it was he was the guy who kind of slow to the ball to England took the lead, but after that he was top notch, and he was important part of that Italy team, and he's been a very important part of this Napoli team. And again, he took on the responsibility of being the captain of the team, and where no one really saw that coming. If you asked the regular Napoli fan, it would have been Koulibaly had he stayed for sure. And a lot of people were shouting for Mario Rui to take it, but he took it, and I think he's been doing a good job, especially lately, with that captain's armband.
Sweet. Got a question. As I take up so much time away from your family, and I'm distracting you. I know
don't
you've
worry
got
about that, man.
You've got
don't worry about that.
Later. Question here that I really liked. Morin says, "Who is the most exciting player from Napoli's Primavera?"
Oh, that's a real difficult question. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Putting you on the spot here.
That's awful. I may have to get back to you on that. Go ahead.
Is there like another fantasista coming up through the ranks that you know of for Napoli right now? Is there
not necessarily? Not necessarily, man. Because I mean, if anything, it would have been Gaetano, Gianluca Gaetano, who's on the main squad and who's very much a role player, very much kind of has his role. I think maybe he's one for the future. He came from the Primavera. He spent a season on a loan with Cremonese last year. Scored a couple of goals. Was a really big part of their promotion to Serie A. But Honestly, right now, I don't see a lot of promise in the Primavera. That's the one thing. There's two things that Napoli are not really good at. Number one, it's the Primavera. Number two, it's communicating with other entities to promote themselves internationally. It's really bad. They don't have good communication skills. uh, 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 Serie A office representative told me that of all 20 teams, Napoli's the only team that hasn't responded to them yet, and it's really difficult to deal with. But as far as the Primavera goes, they are not very good at all. You had a team in the Primavera who last season had to escape relegation on penalty kicks against I think it was Genoa, um, in a relegation playout, and this year go straight into the UEFA Youth League because Napoli qualified for the Champions League, right? So what happens with the Youth League, if anyone out there doesn't know, is that the Primavera teams are all grouped with the same group that the first team has. So Napoli Primavera had to play against Liverpool's youth, Ajax's youth, and Rangers' youth, and they got wiped out. Six matches, six losses. They were wiped, and they're struggling in Primavera One right now. Very, very much so. Very much so.
Yikes.
Even though they beat recently Juventus in Primavera Coppa Italia match, um, which was really nice. This was right as Napoli was playing Juventus, the first teams. There's not a lot to be excited about with the Primavera. Actually, one player that I was really looking forward to seeing, I think he went on loan somewhere in like a Serie B team or something. Is Coli Sacco. We acquired him from Milan last season, and he was really strong for us in the midfield for the Primavera, and I really would like to see him come back to Napoli and play on our team at some point. But as far as this season goes, I couldn't even tell you who's playing, man. Like it's that bad. It's pretty rough.
Well, when you look at the numbers right now and you see that Napoli has 50 points and Milan has 38, it's okay. I think you can afford at this moment to have not such a strong Primavera side.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it's like where we struggle with the Primavera, we're so good at scouting and developing for our main squad, right? So it's like it's almost as if, do we really need the Primavera? I mean, I know a lot of fans that are really frustrated when it comes to us and kids because all these other bigger teams and leagues, and it goes to what Roberto Mancini said about how all in the Netherlands and England and all these other places, um, um, teams are not afraid to play their youth. If they've got quality, they're going to play. And in Italy, it's not that. It's not very much like that. It's really not. But Napoli do so well in their scouting and developing for the main squad that it almost is an afterthought, just to most Napoli fans. Like, we might get one or two glimmers of hope and bright shining. I think, like I said, Gaetano, he's one of them. I think. But yeah, I mean, it's at this point, it's not that necessary.
Fair enough, Rafa. Hit me with your plugs.
Okay, so you can find me at Raffanopoli83, at Napoli Rant, at Far From Vesuvius on Twitter. You can probably find me on Instagram and Facebook in the actual, like, if you look at those there too, you can find me there.
Like as a real
And
person.
yeah, man, like as a real person, Raffaele Rispo is my handle on Instagram, and then I have Ralphie the Barber. It's my alter ego, right? On Instagram. But yeah, I mean, check us out if you're a Napoli fan joining us here for the first time, or if you're a Roma fan, or if you're a fan of any team. We have some really cool guests. We just had Christine Cupo from CBS. We had her on last weekend to talk about the Juve game. We also had Matteo Bonetti on. We had Marco Messina on. We had Marco and Mike from IFTV. We've had Nima from Inter, Sempre Inter. We've had, oh my gosh, we've had Rosario, the owner of Ribalta. We've had numerous guests. Oma Akatugba, if Napoli fans know who that is, Nigerian UEFA accredited journalist. we've had him on our show. We're growing and we're growing, and it's every Monday at 9 o'clock. Tune into the Napoli rant or catch it on audio. Far from Vesuvius. It's really cool.
Cool. Rafa, you're getting a lot of love here from Paul.
Oh,
So
well,
it's a
I love
great.
you guys all too. Thank you very much. Roma fans, Napoli fans, fans of other teams that are in here today. Thank you for listening and listening to me ramble and rant on. I really appreciate all the love. I'm very interactive on Twitter. I really do vibe with a lot of people. Hit me up, man. I'm always down to talk anything, really.
All right, Rafa. We'll talk soon. May the best team win.
Yes, may the best team win, Napoli.
Ciao, Rafa.
Ciao,
Thanks,
ciao.
guys.